Normally here on Nerdbrain we dive headfirst into the grim dark future of Warhammer 40k. But sometimes grim dark isn't just about the far future. Sometimes it's lurking right here in sci-fi classics. And few stories are darker, stranger, or more terrifying than Alien. So, today we're stepping out of the Imperium for a moment and into the cold corridors of LV-426. Before we begin, a quick note. This is my theory, not canon, not anything else. This is just my idea. And for this journey, we are treating Prometheus and Covenant as if they never happened. They simply don't exist. This is Alien as it was back then. Pure, terrifying, and unexplained. When Alien hit theaters back in 1979, audiences were mesmerized and horrified, not just by the Xenomorph, but by what came before it. A fossilized giant, strapped to a chair, chest torn wide open. The Space Jockey. For decades, this mystery haunted fans. Who was he? What was he carrying? And most importantly, what came out of him? Today, we're going to explore a theory that cuts away all the unnecessary retcons of Prometheus and Covenant and brings us back to what Alien was meant to be. Cosmic horror wrapped in mystery. The derelict ship on LV-426 is not a temple, not a fortress. It's a simple cargo ship, a space truck. The eggs in its hull, they're not naturally spawned there. They're contained. The faint mist covering them is not atmosphere, it's a safety mechanism. A stasis field designed to keep them dormant until disturbed. And that tells us something chilling. These eggs weren't random. They were packaged, prepared, and someone, somewhere intended to use them. So picture it. The Space Jockey was simply a hauler, a truck driver on an interstellar scale, transporting a biological weapon that should never have been touched. But something went wrong. Maybe the jockey never knew what he was carrying. Maybe he knew and followed orders anyway. Either way, one egg was not sealed. A facehugger broke containment, and the jockey became the host. Now here's the most important part. Xenomorphs inherit traits from their hosts. Born from a dog, they're fast and feral. From a human, they're cunning and sleek. But from a 4 to 6 meters tall biomechanical alien, that's where things get terrifying. The creature that burst from the jockey wouldn't have been a standard drone. It would have been larger, stronger, maybe even a Praetorian, a proto-queen. Something truly massive came out of him. But here's the tragedy. We know something burst out from the jockey, and we know by their very nature Xenomorphs try to build a nest, a hive. But on LV-426 there was nothing. No hosts, no life, no future. So whatever came out of him, whether it was a massive proto-queen or something other towering form, it wandered the ship, restless and alone. Maybe it tried to build, maybe it began, but with no host to capture, no crew to infect, it had no purpose. In the end, it simply died. The eggs remained behind, sealed in stasis, waiting in silence. But the creature itself, perhaps the largest, most terrifying alien ever spawned, faded away without ever fulfilling its nature. That's why the Nostromo crew found only the aftermath. A fossilized corpse in the chair, a cargo hold of sleeping eggs, and no hive. Just the echo of the monster that lived, and then died, unseen. And here's the beauty of this theory. It doesn't need gods, it doesn't need creators, it doesn't need an android named David making xenomorphs in a lab. The horror of Alien was never about origin stories. It was about the unknown, about stumbling into the ruins of something you never was meant to see. The Space Jockey wasn't a god. He wasn't mankind's father. He was a truck driver on the wrong job with the wrong cargo at the wrong time. And from his chest may have come the most terrifying xenomorph ever spawned, one that lived briefly, wandered in silence and then perished, leaving behind nothing but a tomb and a warning. But here's the darkest part. If the Space Jockey was just a hauler, then the real terror isn't the beast that killed him. It's the delivery, because cargo means two things: a sender and a receiver. Who shipped this nightmare? Was there another civilization somewhere manufacturing biological weapons, packaging them neatly in stasis field and sending them out like freight? And who was meant to be the receiver? Another empire? A client waiting to unleash hell on their enemies? Or something darker? Was the delivery itself part of the weapon? A system designed to spread one shipment at a time across the galaxy. That's the beauty and the horror of Aliens. We'll never know. The jockey wasn't a god. He wasn't a creator. He was just a hauler caught in the middle. But his cargo, that was meant for someone, somewhere. The only truth left is this: the cargo was never meant for us, and we were never meant to see it. So, next time you think of the Space Jockey, don't picture a mythic engineer. Picture a tired cosmic trucker delivering the galaxy's deadliest haul. And remember, the scariest answers are often the simplest one. This was Nerdbrain reminding you, sometimes the cargo is far worse than the crash.